Hello, class. Craig here again, and I just wanted to review um, the document for the rhetorical précis as well as the worksheet, and just remind everybody of a couple of issues that some of you have had that we want to avoid, right? Part of the reason that you complete these 4 sentence summaries of each of your secondary sources is to demonstrate your understanding of their argument, right? Because you focus on thesis in sentence 1, support in sentence 2, purpose in sentence 3, and audience and tone in sentence 4. Those are your rhetorical strategies that you're focusing on to understand how they're making a claim and supporting it. Just like in your essays, you want to make a claim and support it and include MLA citation. Notice how I hit on the 3 student learning outcomes. So in addition to helping to fulfill your student learning outcomes by completing the précis, when you want to set up a quote from a source with a signal phrase, right? Freston states, we know we put a comma. So that's easy to set up a quote with a signal phrase. But when you want to set up a quote with a complete sentence, you put a colon after it. Now, what's a good complete sentence to use with a colon after it to set up the quote from your secondary source or quotes? First sentence of your précis. So when you turn the précis and you get feedback from me, you're not just getting feedback on your analysis and your evaluation, right? You're not just getting feedback on the overall structure of the 4 sentences, right? You're also getting punctuation feedback. And if sentence 1 is punctuated and formatted correctly, then you can use that in your essay and put a colon after it. Make sure the title goes in quotes. Make sure if you mention the source, you put it in italics, the website you got it from, the database. Make sure you put commas inside the quotation marks, right? So let's take a look here. Everybody's looked over this document and hopefully is feeling confident about what goes in each of the sentences, right? When we skip to the next page within the module, you'll notice that the next page is the worksheet, and it literally is a fill in the blank to help you structure your sentences with a word bank of active verbs, right? Specific terms related to rhetoric and the rhetorical situation, right? And last but certainly not least, now the finished product, my sample précis, right? First sentence, author, comma, in the, what type of source is it? Quotes around the title, year in parentheses, comma. For those of you that are wondering why we're putting 2 commas, please review your comma rules from rules of thumb. You'll notice what I believe it's the 4th rule says you put commas around an insertion. Now the insertion comes between the subject and the verb of the sentence. So anytime you want to put anything between the subject and the verb of the sentence that technically the reader could read around, set it off with commas, right? Look at this. Larissa McFarquhar claims that Americans are reading more than ever despite suggestions to the contrary. Now, in the article, who cares if Johnny can't read, the value of books is overstated, is the insertion. Now, sometimes when you have the title, there might not be a year specifically listed. So what you could do then is go to the publication or copyright date of the web page or website at the bottom of it that you got the document from, and put that in. And worst case scenario, if you're having trouble finding the year, you could leave it out. But again, then that's a sign to question the reputability of the source and the credibility of the source if there's no year or date listed. So that should be something that should be, as I like to say, a cause for pause. So that being said, hopefully everybody's feeling confident about constructing their 4-sentence summaries. The other thing, right, most of you are doing a wonderful job with punctuation. Everybody's doing a nice job of analyzing, right? So the punctuation and the format is what some of you need to work on. And for those of you who are doing a great job, keep up the good work. This is just a nice review of what you should continue doing more of. The other thing I wanted to point out, make sure your apostrophe is used correctly. As you can see on the apostrophe reading from rules of thumb, unless it is a singular noun ending in S, right? It's always at, right? I'm sorry, unless it's a plural noun ending in S. Forgive me, right? It's always apostrophe and then the S. So if the author's name ends in S, but it's a singular word, right? John Sims' purpose is. Remember, it's still going to be an apostrophe and an S, even if, right, the noun ends in S, if it's singular. If it's plural, right, the teacher's convention, right? Meaning that it's all the teachers, it's their convention. So when it's a plural noun ending in S, you can just put the apostrophe. When it's a single noun, you always put the apostrophe and the S, even if the noun ends in S. So I hope that's clear. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to reading your précis. Gives me a good idea of which quotes, paraphrases, summaries you're planning on incorporating in terms of what sources you're going to be bringing in, and hopefully they're reputable, hopefully they're credible. Oh, and one last thing, sorry, slate.com, whenever you mention the website or database you got the document from, put it in italics. Thanks for listening, as always, and let me know if you have any questions.